it going? I have my HG Tamiya clones here. I have the HG P410, HG P407. This is the Bruiser clone. This is the high lift clone, the Ford 350 high lift clone. I didn't put any stickers on here. I did on here. And actually put some drivers in here, some figures in here that I'll link over there about them. But anyway, I think they're great. I really do. Now the Bruiser, if you buy the Tamiya Bruiser, that is about $1,000 right now for the kit. No electronics. This thing was about $250, I think, with electronics. So was this, $250 with electronics. This was a better deal. The high lift, if you buy them, they are about $500-ish. And about half the price to get it fully assembled with electronics. Now, I don't like ready-to-runs. Not normally, but I couldn't pass on these. I wanted a Bruiser, sure. Did I want to spend $1,000 on one? No. But they're definitely worth it. Definitely. But they do come with hex bolts. Everything else is almost identical to the Tamiya. Every video that I've watched that people have owned either high lift or Bruiser said that these are nearly identical. Yes, the high lift, how Tamiya designed it, does look comically, the wheels look comically small. But you look at an actual high lift vehicle that someone drives around and they lift them, put larger tires on it, it looks very similar. In reality, something like this, the Bruiser right here, with these size wheels, are actually more comical. Even though where I live, you do see once in a while, some people drive around with their vehicles like this, and it does look comical. But anyway, they do come with electronic speed controllers. Not that great. Receivers, not that great. They do work. They do come with the same transmitter. It's okay. Like this is for the P407. That will do nothing because that's for rear steering. But they have it set up as a 3-channel transmitter here. Steering, throttle, and gearbox. The 410, steering, throttle, gearbox, but the button will work to change the steering from front wheel steering to 4-wheel steering to crab walk to rear wheel only. Let's check it out. All right, front wheel. Press the button. 4-wheel steering. Press the button again. Crab walk. Press the button again. Rear wheel only. So I think that's definitely worth it. Now, people are saying the extra parts that you get in the 410, the high lift versions, are extra parts, are actually extra parts in case they break. I don't think so. You see, the Tamiya high lift, those are set up for 4-wheel steering only. You don't get the front servo and the rear servo. You get just the center servo that controls both steering. Now, I think the extra parts are the setup for center steering only, the center servo only, where it controls, and you just get 4-wheel steering. You don't get a selection. Now, if you change the receiver, you need a 4-channel receiver. if you want all the functions. If you want transmission and four-wheel steering. Because this thing does have servo up front, servo in the back. Now my 407, I've enjoyed it. I have modified a little bit. I put a torque tune motor in it. It needed it. The motor that came with it, it's the same as those black motors. It didn't work that great. It might have been the motor itself. Not sure, but whatever. I did do the front servo modification. It does need it because I haven't taken it off yet, but you see the crank right here? The crank that goes from the back where the servo is, or was, to the front, and then to the front steering. It doesn't work too well. 30, almost 40-year-old technology. Not that great. The transmission works okay. You have to, if you get one of these, you have to set up the transmission servo, the shifting servo, because whoever put them together didn't do them right. They, the second gear, which is the center gear, won't stay right. Now in these controllers, unless you change a controller, you can adjust this properly, but you have to adjust it physically in the truck. You know, here, turn it on, turn the truck on, then do your adjustments. Because when you go through the gears, it won't shift right. I think it's these controllers, because if you use a regular controller that you can adjust all your endpoints, everything, then you'd be able to adjust it right. I mean, for the money, you get metal everything. I forget who it was, Tom Lee RC, I think. Tom Lee, he said that his 407 had some rust on it. Mine luckily didn't. I mean, with these companies, you never know. Yeah. If you want a bruiser, and you don't want to spend $1,000 on a kit, this is the way to go. Oh, and also I have replaced all the bearings on this. I bought a bearing kit. I think it was Fast Eddie. I think so. If not, it's the other one. But bought a bearing kit for it because you have to replace the bearings. These bearings were trash. You can hear it when you ran the axles. At least I could. So I replaced them. There were 3 or 4 different types of bearings in there. Not sizes, types, like brands. And who knew? I didn't know when a bearing was going to blow up on me. I've heard some stories. But this sounds fine. Everything is fine. The transmission is louder on this. Now I'm going to pull this transmission apart, see if it's greased. That might be it. This transmission is much louder than the P407. Much louder. Ridiculously louder. But other than that, it's fine. They're each set up for lights if you want to install them. This one came with the light holders here. This one did not. None of the lights have light holders. You either have to buy some extra ones, or either buy some extra ones or hot glue it in there. That's fine. But in my opinion, my personal opinion, I like the 410 better. It's scaled too, except for the pumpkins, of course. Pumpkins are comically big. But that's what happens with plastic axles. Everything has to be bigger. But, you know, I like the scale look of this. I put on each of them, both of them, I put the metal windshield wiper blades, which is a nice touch. And no, I prefer this one. I prefer to drive this one because shift the gears and you can change from front wheel steering, four wheel steering, back and forth on the fly, which is nice. And they both cost me a lot less than just a bruiser, an actual Tamiya bruiser. The only issue I've had with this one, with the 407, is the steering linkages, the ball ends. They're not the best. I was tightening one and it just broke. So be prepared to replace that also. I replaced the tires on a much softer tire. I'm going to do it on this one eventually. These are the kind that, these are the exact tires that the CC02 came with. And I'm sure that Tamiya put them on other vehicles. But other than that, it's great. It's great. Oh, pogo stick shocks, oil-filled shocks that leak like crazy. If you can still find them, great. I would suggest these above the Tamiya kits if you can't afford it. Don't break the bank buying a bruiser or a high lift. If you play your cards right, you can get both of them for the price of a high lift. Thanks for watching.